everybody, this is Miss Shirley from Simple Gifts Music Studio. Today in our Practice With Me session, we're going to be working on Clowns by Kabalevsky, Opus 39, number 20. This is also included in Royal Conservatory of Music Canada's Level 3 repertoire, perfect for intermediate level students. And Kabalevsky is a 20th century musician, and when he composed music, much like many of the 20th century composers, they're very specific and descriptive. So the title is Clowns. Let's see what you can hear when I play. This is 20th century music. I think of this. I think about silent films. So I think about when you go into a silent movie theater, you have those black and white films, and you have those clowns popping out of everywhere, or popping out of just a tiny little car. At the same time, there's a live piano or organist playing as accompaniment to help you to imagine what will go along with those silent images you're seeing on the screen. So can you hear all the clowns one after another popping out of this tiny little car? Listen to it. So all that is mezzo forte, and it's very important to create layers and contrast in this piece. The texture and articulations are what makes this interesting. So you have legato and the staccato, and grouping that makes a clown's sound wobbly. Now I have an accented dotted quarter note. I have to make sure I hold it long enough so the clowns can finish their gesture. And accented quarter note. At the same time, my left hand has this wonderfully crisp staccato. You want to make sure the staccatos are crisp, because if they're not crisp, it weighs down the sound. And suddenly you lose that fun sound, right? Next section is piano. So we never want to play a dynamic only because we're told to. I personally, maybe that's the streak of rebel in me. I don't really want to do anything just because somebody tells me to. But I will listen to someone if they communicate with me. So therefore, we want to be in communication with the composer on the intention. So, but I can't really talk to the composer, so now it's all gonna have to happen in my imagination. This part, I can imagine the clowns are up to no good. They're being absolutely sneaky and being mischievous. They're sneaking up on somebody. They're planning on doing something silly, something bad. They may be holding a bucket, slowly and quietly approaching somebody. So let's listen to this. And now you know something's about to happen because the music changes. You hear that? And now, not only the harmonic structure begins to thicken, you also for the first time have a tenuto on the left hand. So tenuto is that little line on top of the notes. That means you need to hold the notes to its full value. In this case, those are quarter notes, so we have to hold one full count. We also need to press well into the keys. It's not quite an accent. It's somewhere between a regular note and an accent. It is stressed. So bom, staccato, bom, bom. Now I have accents and held quarter notes. Bom, 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 bom. Can you hear that intensity build? So I go from piano. So now that happens, right? So, however, measure 15 is a tricky measure. Almost all students have some trouble with it. So this is how I recommend for you to practice. First of all, should not start off playing the piece, the speed. Always start slow, be patient. You're gonna get there a lot faster with slow practice. And because you don't have to spend time fixing mistakes. So you wanna practice in segments. Pause, 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 staccato. So why do we want to segment them? Because we want our ears and fingers and our mind, most importantly, to get conditioned by how the notes are grouped. And by practicing them slowly. Oh, sorry, left is held. Why do we practice slowly? Because we want to make sure we're eliminating and preventing tension, both mentally, because that will make you nervous, and also may create the kind of intensity that is not what we're really looking for. We're looking for the kind of intensity that increases suspense and excitement, not the kind of tension that makes people nervous. And the other thing is we also prevent tension from building in our hands and our arms and our wrists. So we can go, which will make us lose control over what we're playing. So you can practice this whole section like this. And find it. And find it. You can use a metronome to help you if that's your preference. I really recommend metronome practice because it's a skill. It's going to be uncomfortable using a metronome if you're not used to it. So it's actually a skill. But as you get better and better and better, and if this piece is appropriate for your skill level, so you're an intermediate student who has proper technique for your level and proper understanding for reading and musicality, you should be able to work it up to the speed where it needs to be. Because while it is a good idea to play something really well and musically at a slower speed, you do lose some of the composer's intention when it is too slow, like in this piece. You cannot feel the swiftness of the movement of the clown. So you want to be patient. Practice slowly in segments. Learn how to practice with the metronome so you can gradually increase your speed. And then you can join them together. And then faster. Crescendo. And then even faster. And then we crescendo into forte, which is a returning of the A section. So this is the same thing, the same motif we started. Except now we have a conclusion and the build up to the whole excitement. To me, that's where the clowns run into each other, fall backwards. And for the first time, we have accents that's merged together with a staccato for the last three chords. And you have this very relatively thick texture for this piece, right? You have 4 note chords. And now you have to look at the outside note. Half step, right? And now the right hand have D, bum, bum, left hand, bum, repeat note. So together, you want to be very solid in your approach of those notes. You want to know them very well. Memorization is not your enemy. Memorization is your friend. Why is that? Most of the time, if you're practicing enough, you naturally begin to memorize. And also, when you're playing the music, what is your number one priority? Your number one priority is not to push together, hands together to play all the right notes. Your priority is making music. So once your ears become conditioned to what a piece of music sounds like, the memorization will naturally come. And that also means you don't have to overthink. You know what's coming up next. You're not panicking and you're not trying to figure it out. When you can do that, you're going to have a much easier time playing it well and playing it up to speed. So therefore, memorization is not your enemy, it's actually your friend. But don't fret and don't stress out. If you're practicing this piece enough, memorization will happen naturally. So especially for the last 3 chords. Oh, that's not what I meant. So bop, 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 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Together, bop, bop, bop. So break it down, practice. It's very helpful when you break down into different elements. When you go half step, 3, 4, 5, half steps, 3, 4, 5. Counter motion in both hands with staccatos and accents. Right? And then right hand adds the thumb. And left hand adds the thumb, but left hand the thumb is stationary. So together, right? How fun is that? So thank you for joining me today, and I hope you have fun practicing and learning this piece. And comment below and let me know if you have any questions, concerns, and please hit subscribe and the little bell so you can, I will be continuing to be uploading more educational based as well as performance based pieces for students and some cover arrangements that will be original. And I look forward to do more things with you. This is fun.